Hello, this is Pelanautistic Katie Nicole Affel, Comprehensive Exam Seminar, NPA 594. In this presentation, we talk about early voices in public administration, in particular, the politics and administration dichotomy. In 1887, Thomas Woodrow Wilson wrote the infamous essay, The Study of Public Administration. This essay refocused the study of administration as a discipline in the academic world. As a background, Wilson was saying it was getting harder to run a constitution than to frame one, and like a lusty child, government has expanded in nature and grown great in stature, but has become awkward in movement. Wilson wanted to find a way to control and coordinate the growth of government efficiently and economically, and run government as a business. This gave a voice to the separation of politics and administration, known as politics and administration dichotomy. Later in 1900, Frank J. Goodenough wrote the book Politics and Administration. Goodenough offered a more careful examination of the politics and administration dichotomy. He said that the expression of the will of the people is through the elected officials and politicians. The execution or carrying out of that will is through the administration. There are three authorities that Goodenough described who are engaged in executing the will of the state. First is the judicial system, who apply the law in concrete cases where controversies arise. And then there's the executive, politicians, who are generally the supervisors of executing the state of the will, or the will of the state. And lastly, the administrator, the administrative authority. These are those who are attending to government, attend to the scientific, technical, and commercial activities of government. So two theories that talk about the political administration dichotomy is Wilson and Goodenough, as we've talked before. Wilson primarily wanted to navigate out of the awkward stage of politics taking over administration and wanted amateurs to run the political framework of making policies for the country, and to leave the running of the affairs of the government to the administrators and professionals. Goodenough comes in and said that politics should have a certain control over administration, that the executing body, which is the administrator, is subordinate to the expressing authority, which are the politicians and elected officials who are expressing the will of the people. I want to take what Goodenough is talking about and apply it to our modern world. Goodenough said that the control of the power is now in the party system. And here's how we can see that in action. When the Democratic Party was in power under President Barack Obama, the EPA implemented tough new regulations that were meant to curb pollutants and mitigate the impacts of climate change. Well, now with the shift of the pendulum, President Trump's attempt to roll back that environmental regulation with the appointment of Pruitt and now with the appointment of Andrew Wheeler. So politics is having a force upon the agency, the EPA. The question here is, can the executive arm of our government and the Republican Party that is in possession of government, can they force its political will upon the EPA agency? I believe that this will be proving to be a real battle for the administration to swing the pendulum on the purpose of the EPA to regulate the environmental externalities. Precisely because over time, we have entrenched professionals, practitioners, scholars in the agency, in the EPA agencies, who I think are able to stand up against the political pressure and manipulation of the current administration. Another point is that the externalities of climate change is an economic issue that has not been dealt with, and the world is seeing that impact. People in our nation are seeing that impact. The states and local government are seeing that impact, and I feel that it's very difficult for the federal government or the executive branch of the federal government that is running the affairs of the state of the country to change that wheel in the EPA, and that's what's manifesting in the outs of groups and the controversy that's going on with the EPA. This political administration dichotomy is coming. I see what Goodnow talks about, where politics through the party system, politics is having a certain control over the administration. But it looks like the professional administrators are trying to stand true to their mission in running the affairs of government, and this is becoming a power struggle or a conflict that we have yet to resolve in our not so perfect federal government. And that concludes my presentation for this lecture. Thank you.